Pick out the ear hair. I mean, that's like a feeler in the dark, so he can like a rat, scurry around when he's in hell. All right, anyways, excuse me. Get Sandusky off the screen. I'm about to throw up. You know what? Since we brought that up, I'll just get to it right now. Again, every demonic culture that's been taken over by these people engages in human sacrifice. And they always demand the kids. So if they can't get away with killing kids, it's not just about raping them. They want to psychically hurt them as bad as they can and ruin them. So it's a psychic sacrifice. Every culture, research the anthropology and the archaeology, every culture has these people take over. Black, white, Asian, you name it. Every culture develops guilds that demand they drop by your house or you bring your child to them. Most people are so brainwashed they would be proud to have their 2-year-old son or daughter have their heart cut out while high priests gobble their intestines in front of everyone and splatter their guts all over the ground and read the tea leaves out of their intestines. I mean, this is what it's all about. This is what the Illuminati are all about throughout history. So instead, because they can't just kill them outright, they want to soft kill them with vaccines, GMOs. That's another way they still get their sacrifice. But again, these entities that are in them, whatever you want to call it, the malfunction, if you just want to look at it from a biological perspective of these cancerous humans, is that they demand children, normally the firstborn, because for whatever reason that was seen as the most valuable. Those were going to be leaders in the future. Almost all the astronauts, almost all your top scientists are firstborn for whatever reason. They're around adults. They grow up. As adults, they grow up with more advanced intelligence, IQ, not knocking folks that aren't firstborn. It's just a fact. There are some anomalies that are different. They want to take your firstborn and torture them. They like to, most cultures would like to throw small children on like a big open metal oven. The flapping around and screaming anyways, the point is, and these devil pits are everywhere. And most of your big universities, most of your big now international law enforcement, national law enforcement, are armies of child-killing, child-raping, demonic slugs. We'll be right back. Let me ask you a question. What does freedom mean to you? I am going to continue with the news headlines and brief sardonic analysis. And then we're going to open the phones up right now. I'm going to give the numbers out, and then we'll take your calls coming up in the next segment on Ask Alex. If you have a question on any topic or issue, I will do my best to answer it. The toll-free number to join us, and I want to give first-time callers a chance to get involved again, because there's so many millions of people that never got through. 800-259-9231. 800-259-9231. And I apologize. Sometimes I get, a whole bunch of phone calls on the line and don't get to everybody, but we run out of time here and try to give callers a lot of time, and then I go on for a long time, and you know the drill. But 800-259-9231 is the toll-free number to join us. Getting back to Sandusky, I'm not joking about burning children in fiery pits. Every major culture did it. The Druids all over Northern and Western Europe, into Albion. They engaged in it everywhere. All over the Middle East, all over Central Asia, all over the Far East. Every culture they dig into, they would have big idols with basically either a fire in front of them or a big sheet of metal heated up. If you're a new listener, I wasn't joking earlier on, I talked about that. Look it up. They would throw children onto it, I guess just for added screaming and pain and power trips. For you or I, that would be like ripping our guts out. We would rather die than see something like that. I mean, I almost go to my knees in just reverent love of God to see a beautiful sunset or sunrise or an innocent child catch a little perch fish and smile and have creativity and innocence in their eyes. And I want to kill people that want to hurt children. My instinct is, they like to hurt children. Well, I like to, basically bash the brains out of people that want to hurt children. And I'm not a violent person, but I have extreme feelings of violence towards people like that. I have a serious desire to gouge their eyes out, to tear their heads off. I get so mad that I guarantee you I could physically tear somebody's head off. I guarantee I could break their neck in about 1 second. And if you don't have that feeling towards these perverts and towards these criminals, then you've got something wrong with you. Okay? It's not macho or tough that I have serious feelings of violence towards people that hurt children. And I don't mean disciplining your child when they try to stick their finger in a light socket. That is good to do. I'm talking people who want to hurt children and who want to abuse them and dominate them and lock them up, like the cases in France and other areas of Europe where they caught pedophiles with little kids in dungeons, starving them to death, and these elitists would come and do horrible things to them. This is going on. And you look at, I've seen the comments on the website and seen emails coming in going, why isn't Alex talking about Sandusky since he got convicted and since this all came out? And hey, you were right. And hey, you know, it goes to the top. Of course it went to the top. And I haven't covered it a lot because it gets me upset, okay? It gets me very, very upset. And then I'm likely to blow up at people around me. So I tend to try to just be dark and sarcastic. But it's not because I think it's funny. It's because it makes me want to attack people, okay? I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, I cannot look at Sandusky without going into a controlled rage. And, of course, it's now come out that the entire hierarchy was knowingly covering things up, which makes them accessory of the crimes. And all of them need to be arrested. Everybody's like, oh, the coach is good. Don't say he knows and all this. You know, 6 months ago when all this started, I got a lot of heat for saying, of course they knew. And of course it goes higher than that. You look at that charity and the whole way it's set up, how it's designed for disadvantaged kids that have already had problems. That way nobody will believe them when they get abused. The whole way it's set up, it's so dark, ladies and gentlemen. I've talked to Hollywood people, and I know there's some books coming out on it soon, about what goes on in Hollywood. And again, it's not even the actors and people. They're just the minions. But the producers and the higher-ups, it's just a kingdom of evil. And the Disney stars and all that. I remember 15 years ago hearing they were MK Ultra and part of these projects, and then to later find out that from people in Hollywood that they really are, that there really is mind control programs, and that it really is Operation Monarch. And then Katy Perry comes out with her new video, and it's Operation Monarch programming. I mean, it's just, we're living in a total crazy land, is what I'm telling you. But if you look at history, it's what happens over and over again. So I look at Sandusky and all this stuff. I mean, I need to get off this subject because it really, I need to have a lot of energy today. I have a lot of stuff I need to cover and do. And if I get into a rage, I'm not going to have any energy. I'm going to hit some more news briefly, just some headlines, then go to your calls. Ask Alex. That's me, 800-259-9231. You can send your questions, too, to planetinfowars.com in the Ask Alex section there.
We're on the march.
We have to decide as a civilization that we don't want to be deindustrialized and have all of our functions replaced by autonomous, pre-programmed robots controlled by the globalists. And in all their white papers, that's all they've talked about for 50 years, how they were going to get to this point. That's how I know every new step of their program. The entire underwater fleet, the entire surface fleet, the entire aircraft fleet, the entire ground force fleet will be robot. They've got different numbers of 2020, 2025. By 2015, you know, the vast majority of the Air Force and Army's aircraft will be autonomous, not just drone with some guy that was playing video games that were really a primer. You know, they have movies like The Last Starfighter. That's a good kids movie. I remember seeing it back when I was a kid, and I bought it, and my son and I watched it. I think it's a little too old for my oldest daughter, but we watched The Last Starfighter last year. And the kid goes and plays the video game in his trailer park. And no one's ever won the game. And when he wins the game, a spaceship lands with a humanoid and says, all right, you're being recruited to join, you know, this fleet because of the skills you have. And then he's taken off world to go be the last starfighter because before they get back to the base, it gets blown up. The point is that isn't life imitating art today, that's actually how these Connect and video games work, is that most of the people now joining the Air Force and other systems are video game heads, and we're actually playing on similar simulators for a decade and are now flying real drones, real Reapers, and bombing people and getting medals for it. Because the Pentagon developed video games before Pong and before all the first games in the 70s. They developed them for instinctive shooting and to train people to pull triggers, just as pop-up targets do, so that people wouldn't hesitate when they were confronted with another human at close range and would kill them. To where troops kill people at rates of 95, 96, 97% up close and don't think a thing about it. Blow up a car full of men, women, children, won't even feel bad about it when a kid's crawling along with their guts coming out, blown in half, because they've simulated the killing so many times with the video games that now it doesn't matter. This was all admittedly scientifically done to dehumanize us, so that now as we're killed and as this is all turned against us, people can't differentiate because they've seen thousands of simulated murders on TV, hundreds of thousands on video games, where it's always zombies and monsters, but the humanoid shape. To where now humans see themselves as garbage. And now people are going crazy thinking they're zombies and trying to eat people's faces off, showing the power of television to condition people. I mean, I saw studies about in the 50s and 60s, if they, police noticed very quickly that if they had a big top TV show come out and have somebody jump off the Empire State Building or another big building on the TV show, that suddenly scores of people would show up that day or that night and would go and try to jump off the Empire State Building just because they saw it on television. Or if it was on the news that somebody did jump off a building, suddenly they'd have to station police there because people were there to jump off the building. This is the suggestibility of the population. And we've gotten more and more suggestible. Just like when we're in a hypnotic state and you can have a magician, get you to trick your mind into doing what they say and believing a potato is an apple. Or walking off the stage and falling on a mattress. And the people really are doing it because they're under mind control. And that's what the television, this whole culture is. That's why people can't wake up as the government goes, yeah, we're spying on you. Yeah, we're torturing and killing people. Yeah, we'll kill you. Yeah, we're putting cancer viruses in your shots. Hey, you know what? We did lie. That H1N1 does kill you. That vaccine does eat your brain. Don't worry, we're going to give you a shot soon where even those of you that resist us and are resistant to all the programming and chemicals, it's not going to matter. The virus is going to go in and attack your brain and destroy your key centers of resistance. You're going to not be upset anymore. Just like a body snatcher movie. Just go to sleep. When you wake up, it'll all be all right. Or just take this shot. There's not going to be any more getting upset anymore. You're upset about all this stuff happening? You're not going to be upset anymore. Join us, join us, join us. This is how heavy reality is. We're going to see things that blow your mind, that blow my mind. End of the world? It isn't 2012, folks. That's just getting you conditioned. See, they have the Christians all taught to lay down that it's the end of the world. Not a teaching that was in the Bible, a pre-tribulation until the last 170 years or so. So everybody goes, oh, praise God, they want us to take chips. That means the end of the world's here. I'll be teleported out. Oh, yeah. Like all the Christians in the Bible that were teleported out? No, they had to face it before God delivered them, and only sometimes if that was part of God's plan. And you know in your gut you're not going to escape any of this. All of you cowards out there who think you're going to escape the New World Order, you're not going to escape jack squat. You understand that? You're going to face reality. That's history, that's common sense, that's God's universal law. And you better get used to it and better get ready for it. Of course, you'll line up